We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. U.S. District Judge Alan Windsor, appointed to the bench by President Donald Trump in 2019, is to decide the fate of Disney's free speech lawsuit against Florida Governor DeSantis.
Cowardly bigots are at it again, secretly vandalizing LGBTQ plus properties and art. Is it ever going to stop?
Is the culture war on LGBTQ plus working in America? We dive into the Public Religion Research Institute's new report. Are you going to be happy?
CBS News' Gayle King knows what to ask, whom to ask, and most importantly of all, when to ask it. Her next hit is gay news anchor Anderson Cooper. Did he just spit out his drink over Throuples?
The director of a public library tried his best but could not stop the removal of Out magazine from the collection as the board deemed the magazine inappropriate. Did war just get declared on the queer community?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news broadcasting live and available on demand. Available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. We're live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
Hello again, everyone. I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Fay What? And this evening we bring you the news of and perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same models of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ plus community. Our mission? Support the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our Black community, Latino, lesbian and queer women, trans, student youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest nonprofit LGBTQ plus media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating the start of 40 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television, news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
So let's begin by meeting tonight's panel. Let's start with TriniDaddy. He is currently a violinist and a pianist with the Miami City Ballet and is the program director for the Seminole Theater Players in Homestead, Florida. Welcome back, Trini.
Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be here battling that hurricane outside in South Florida.
Right? And how are you after, what is it, the Nutcracker? Is that what you're performing 143 times?
Yes. I think I'm on performance 7. I think we have 20 more to go. So if you are at the Arts Center or close by for the next 2 weeks, come down and see us. And after Christmas, we'll go for 4 days in West Palm Beach at Kravis. So hope to see you all.
Listen, so for some people, the holidays are just not the holidays without watching the Nutcracker,
right.
You know? So that's why you have to do it 143 times.
Yes, and I'm the guy who I play violin in, and I'm also the dude who plays the Sugar Plum Fairy. Dum dum ding dum dum.
You look like a Sugar Plum Fairy. So perfect. Come on. Next up, let's welcome my brother from another mother. He's John Hayden. He's a journalist for 28 years, and he's senior reporter for Out South Florida. You can follow him on Instagram at John Hayden Journalist for breaking news and live reports from community events. Welcome back, Papi.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. And Trini, did you hear about the shortfall at the county morgue? It's forcing them to cut coroners.
And next.
Come on, that was funny. Next up, don't quit your day job. Like, for real.
This is my day job.
That part. We'll have to deal with that later. All right. Next up, let's welcome anchor Dr. Tai Houser. Tai Houser.
Oh, this is going to be a good one tonight.
You know why I said that? Because I traveled with Tai over the weekend. We went away on a cruise and had a fabulous time.
Absolutely.
And by the end of it, I was like, Tai Houser, die! Tai is an incredible professor of English and humanities at Broward College and teaches in the colleges of business at Florida Atlantic University. He has served as visiting professor at colleges in Bolivia, Brazil, China, India, and Spain. Tai owns Linden Bridge LLC, an educational experience company. Welcome back, Tai.
Hey, it's great to be here. And TriniDaddy, I'm waiting for you to crack my nuts.
Ooh.
Oh.
Wow. Like, you don't even. What do you say to that? Like, you can't even reply to that. Just,
You say, I'll meet you at the Eagle.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yes.
And last but definitely not least, my sister, anchor Cindy Brown. Cindy was an early organizer of the Miami AIDS Walk and the White Party for Care resource. She's the programs director for the Lambda Living program at Jewish Community Services, and she also served as the ED of the MDGLCC Foundation and Miami Beach Pride as well. Welcome back, Miss Cindy. Thank you for being here with us.
So happy to be here. I always like to sit around this table.
I love it.
And excited for the holidays.
Yes, happy Hanukkah.
Well, thank you.
Right? Happy Hanukkah to all.
Happy Hanukkah to everybody. And Merry Christmas.
And
we
Merry
can
Christmas.
say that too.
Of
And
course.
Happy Kwanzaa.
And happy Kwanzaa and all of that.
Whatever you celebrate.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Exactly.
The airing of the grievances will be after the sunshine break.
All righty then.
So we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. Let's begin by queering up courts. DeSantis' attorneys asked federal judge to dismiss Disney's free speech lawsuit. This week, attorneys for Governor Ron DeSantis asked U.S. District Court Judge Alan Windsor to dismiss a free speech lawsuit filed by Disney. Disney alleges that the Florida governor took over Walt Disney World's governing district in retaliation for the company opposing a state law that banned classroom lessons on sexual orientation and gender identity in early grades. DeSantis' legal team argued that the federal lawsuit should be dismissed since Disney lacks standing to file it. The hearing was the first time oral arguments were made in federal court over Disney's claim that DeSantis used state powers to punish the entertainment giant, a violation of the First Amendment. The governor's attorneys argued that the case should be dismissed, claiming DeSantis is immune because he doesn't enforce any of the laws that removed supervision of the government from Disney supporters. Any decision Judge Windsor makes could determine who controls the governing district that performs municipal services in the roughly 40 square miles in Central Florida that make up Disney World. Windsor was appointed to the bench by President Donald Trump in 2019. Disney and DeSantis' appointees also are battling in a state court lawsuit in Orlando over control of the district. You know, as many of us know, Disney is the #1 employer of LGBTQ plus folks here in Florida, right, as a whole. And we're very well aware that, yes, DeSantis was being a huge bully when he wanted to do this, you know, because he felt that he was losing control. And at Disney, the huge ass, organization that it is, has the money to fight someone like DeSantis, you know? So, yes, of course this can't be overturned. DeSantis, you were a bully. You are a bully. You will always be a bully.
I mean, it's not only the largest employer of LGBT people, it's the largest employer in the state. Period. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for a governor that says he's pro-business, this is the antithesis of being pro-business. Mm-hmm. And the residents of that area, if DeSantis comes out victorious, are not going to be happy because Disney maintains everything to a much, much higher standard.
Completely. And I remember doing a story a couple months back, I think John will support me on this one, right, where they were thinking of looking at options of moving Disney to another state. Remember that, John?
Yeah.
And if that would have been thought through and done, I mean, it would bankrupt Central Florida, completely.
Exactly.
Well, we'd have to pay a state income tax.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
That's where we would go. We would go to state income tax.
But the thing is, though, it did sort of happen, because remember they were supposed to bring this $2 billion of investment and 25,000 employees or something like that.
That's what it was. Yes,
and it got canceled.
Pause,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And so now I'll tell you, this is really a procedural move. You know, if DeSantis was suing Disney, Disney would be making the motion to dismiss. So this isn't really moving it forward. This is just something that happens along the way.
Okay.
So let's not get too out over our skis. But that said, this is a weaselly argument made by DeSantis's lawyers, and because he doesn't enforce the laws, but we've got enough of him on tape of him railing against Disney, saying that they were going to do this, saying that businesses aren't above a governor's edict or whatever he said. So the fact is, he's got a record that's going to show he might not be going into Disney and doing whatever, but he's responsible for it. He is the puppet master pulling the strings, and there is no doubt about that.
He's taking a play right out of Trump's playbook, too, right? I mean, he is like Trump light, or maybe not light, but
he's like Trump adjacent.
Yeah,
Trump adjacent.
He's competent Trump, which is even scarier.
Which is scarier.
He's smarter Trump, which is scary.
Yeah, but he's saying, I'm above the law. I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to do it.
But his policies are way extreme, and I'm hoping that the judge is a fair and reasonable kind of person.
He was appointed by Trump.
But we have seen Trump appointees who break from his positions.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
all of a sudden they're human, right? All of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, I can't uphold this. Trini, what do you think about this, baby?
Well, it's obvious that he is the puppet master. And where was this rhetoric before the Don't Say Gay bill? Did he go after any of these Disney before that? Obviously, it was not on his radar. It was clearly retaliation. The only thing that is an issue is the same thing with Donald Trump in January 6th. It's like, when does what your free speech is and what you're saying can be held against you? And so I'm not sure if that particular case, how that's going to play out. It's the other one that they mentioned with that was in the opening package. I can't remember what it was, but we'll see how the other court cases go. This one and the standing, I'm not sure how the judge is going to rule on that. If they say that, I'm not the guy, I'm just the Charles Manson, all the other people. I can't make them listen to me.
Forever too, okay? Like he deserved.
Yeah.
All right. Next, let's queer up out South Florida. Wilton Manors' burgeoning theater district hit by hate. The intersection of LGBTQ+ and the arts communities has been strong for decades, but combining the two also creates an easy target for criminals. In this week's Out South Florida, we're reminded that this week, when Island City Stage was the victim of vandals. Their new landscaping was destroyed along with planters at the neighboring Foundry Plays of Wilton Theater. Beyond that, surveillance video from a business across the street shows a person shutting off water to the building and Body Tech Fitness. Island City Stage's managing director, Martin Childers, told me, quote, "We just had the new planters installed and anchored 2 weeks ago, and it was paid for by donors. As a nonprofit, everything we do comes at a great cost to us and our community that makes it possible. To see it destroyed in any way is disheartening. And if we were targeted in any way, that's a totally different story." Were they targeted? Wilton Manors police are investigating, but it appears so. LGBTQ+ owned and or friendly businesses were the target. That section of Dixie Highway is becoming the next Wilton Drive and, during early evening hours, is an LGBTQ+ hotspot. This happened around 3 a.m. Tuesday morning when no one was around. And that fits the MO of a cowardly bigot. It also serves as a reminder that we must always be careful, especially in the places we feel safest. Chief Blocker talked with me and the community a couple weeks ago about see something, say something. Obviously, there was no one else around to see something or say something there, but there's no reason that violence can't happen to us at other times of the day. Yeah. And this may sound like, it's just a petty destruction, but it's not. It's an attack on our community.
It's our businesses. These are our safe spaces, like you said. When you think about the Foundry, when you think about Island City, when you think about Body Tech, they're all owned and operated by gay people, Yeah. I mean, so it really does feel like a targeted attack, And I don't like how it makes me feel, John. Yeah. I really don't. Are we open for more of this? And it's, again, like you said, see something, say something is so important, right? When we leave the studio, when we leave, partying on Wilton Drive, we're like, let me walk you to your car. Let me make sure you get to your car. We've got to get back to those times, folks, because it's true. Even in our own little nook, right, where we think that we're the safest, which is Wilton Drive, anything could happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that the divisiveness that came out of, the last however many years is really starting to blow up more. And it's showing up in a lot more places than just the LGBTQ community. And it says something about our society. And will we ever get to the point where this, these hate, these instances of hate and vandalism and violence.
It sucks. I would love to tell you that one day it'll stop, right? But the reality is that we've been like this for a very long time. There's always been hate in the world, and right now it's just on our face,
coming out to the surface.
And it feels awful. And especially during the holidays, like how the holidays are so rough as it is.
Right.
You know, for a lot of LGBTQ plus stuff. Right. And I know people that like go to the gym or go to Body Tech or something like that just to get their mind off their crazy parents that are coming to town. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And, on that note, Faye, I'll just say, holidays are a difficult time for a lot of people. You may not be celebrating with loved ones that you've lost. You may have trauma from early holidays.
You may have lost somebody recently.
Exactly.
It might be your first holiday without somebody. And
so
that's rough.
Reach out for help.
Yes, ma'am.
Reach out for help. Find a place. If you have friends and you don't have a place to go, say, hey, can you have an extra seat at the table? And conversely, if you know someone who is alone, who lives alone, maybe lost their partner or something, invite them over.
You're so sweet.
Invite them over. And, if they do have plans, they'll say, oh, thank you, but I have plans. But the worst thing is to leave them alone and then they're by themselves and they don't want to tell anybody.
And that person might be alone and go, wait a minute, but Cindy invited me. You know what I mean? And look, and here's a personal invitation. If you want to come and hang out with me, the Cuban, and her mom, the Trumper, you're more than welcome to come hang out with us. I mean, I don't know if you want to, but you're more than welcome.
I like to approach the world from a place where I believe that people are inherently good. And when stuff like this happens, I just mean people suck.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But you know what? I wouldn't let this ruin your time, your holiday, whatever.
Right, exactly.
These incidences, as Faye said, will go on till the end of time. Right? So it happens. There's so many great things that are happening. There's so many, I know to look at Florida in particular with DeSantis and everything. Right. It's a permanent scowl on the face. But there are many grassroots organizations that are doing so much to help. I get hit up by them every day, like 3 or 4 of them, and
give me money
and emails and all the different political action committees. So there are great things moving, and I have a positive outlook of what's going to happen in the next couple of years.
Well, you're the one who's going to live the longest of everyone at this table.
You really don't know how old he is.
I do.
No, you don't, because you keep on thinking that he's not young.
But I'm here for it.
I'm not going to mess that up for you, Papi. I got your back.
Next.
Cindy, what's our next story, baby?
Let's queer up politics.
Well, you're still 32, according to Cindy. I love it.
Is political culture war to turn America against LGBTQ plus working? In one word, poll says yes. As anti-LGBTQ plus bills from politicians spike across the United States, support for gay and transgender people is also declining among the public. While the majority of Americans still support marriage equality and anti-discrimination policies, a recent report from the Public Religion Research Institute shows that the support for LGBTQ plus rights has decreased in the past few years. While around 72% of the public supported marriage equality in August 2021, just 66% said they supported it in 2023. The PRRI cites partisan dynamics as a factor behind the shift, which has largely influenced Republican voters. For example, support for policies requiring transgender people to use bathrooms based on their sex at birth nearly doubled among GOP voters in just 7 years. Bathroom bills were supported by just 44% of Republicans in 2016 compared to 80% in 2023. While younger generations are more likely to support LGBTQ plus people, particularly transgender people, previous PRRI analyst has shown that partisanship could overcome generational divides. So my feeling is I don't believe it. I don't believe in the polls after the 2016 election and seeing how horribly wrong they were after the midterms where there was supposed to be this red wave. My feeling is that the way that we are polling needs to change. And our demographics, we are not as segmented in you're just a Republican, you're just a Democrat. We have to make those choices when we're at the ballot box, but it's not anymore that Republicans are just anti-abortion, anti-gay, anti-this, and then liberals or Democrats are one way here. So I do believe, my personal belief, and I'm not going off of these polls, is that actually support for gay people has been higher than what is reported. There is a margin of error for the study.
Of course.
I think it's transgender people that have been caught in the crosshairs. And many people, I don't know if this religious institute exactly who they polled or
That's my question. Who did they poll?
If they have more access to religious people,
Exactly.
maybe
Then
more.
I understand those higher numbers
Of course.
from Republicans.
Of course.
Yeah.
I will say that that this agency, and I haven't read the methodology behind this story either, but they do generally have well-sourced polls. You know, they ask questions and they work scientifically. Scientifically, that's the word I can come up with. But you know what I'm saying is that they do generally reputable.
Why are they so wrong? The polls have been so wrong, and so many.
Well,
Even the Pew research institutes have been so off the mark the past.
They're never going to
years.
be spot on completely.
No, but I mean, the
not
margin of
polling the
error
right
has been,
people, I guess.
been
or
much
not
further off.
not a good diversity.
But just remember, like a few weeks ago, I think we were on the show for that as well. We talked about how support just for marriage equality in general had fallen from 53% to 44% among Republicans. That seems like a more reasonable poll. But my takeaway from this story, while just sort of like getting away from the actual numbers, is that if you harass someone enough, if you put the message out there that trans people are bad, gay people are dangerous, if you put it out there enough, you are going to move the needle.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what I'm seeing in this, is that however far the needle has moved, I would say it is moving, and it's moving away from our benefit and from our rights.
So I'm agreeing with you, John. I think it's a poll that's saying people do what they're told to do.
Yeah.
And since the right has made an issue of transgender rights, of queer rights, then everyone follows suit. Oh, it's an issue now, so we're gonna take a stand.
Culture wars.
Right.
I can say that my personal experience being an avid consumer of conservative media, that maybe 3-4 years ago, prior to transgender issues, it was gay, And now with Ron DeSantis, he's kind of starting something else, but he's getting a lot more ridicule for it than he is getting praise from what I see.
Now.
But the conservatives seem to be like, all right, guys, the gay thing, that's kind of a losing issue. Trans is where it's at. This is where we can make everything happen and drag. And most people don't understand the difference between drag and
Transgender,
trans.
right.
Yeah.
They don't understand the difference between gender and sexual orientation. And I think there is a kind of a confusion campaign going on there to just lump everything together, like a vote for a transgender in a bathroom means anti-gay marriage or something like that.
Yeah.
Right? So I do think that there is progress on their part, what they're trying to do, which is lump everything together and make one thing seem like it's the whole when they're really separate issues.
Right.
But I know the conservative hosts, they are not talking about gay people the way that they used to talk
No,
about.
at all.
They have realized, like even Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity and stuff, when they're asked about it in town halls, they'll say, you know what, if people are gay, it's gay. But it's really this trans thing that is taking everybody, off the cliff. So I think it's a little bit more complicated than what a poll can show, but
course.
the actual polls that we vote in, that's where it's gonna.
That's where it
Yeah.
counts. That's where
what
we see
matters.
it.
Right.
Ty, what's
Okay,
next?
next, let's queer up entertainment. Anderson Cooper spits drink after Gayle King asks him about a throuple. Gayle King knows how to make Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen gag. And so do I. In a new interview clip from Bravo's Watch What Happens Live, TV icon Gayle King can be seen making longtime best friend Cooper and Cohen stutter and spit after she asked them a very sexy question. King was playing a game of quick-fire questions with Cooper that turned quickly to raunchy, with questions like, would you make a sex tape? To, do you like baby talk? Then, Cooper was asked if he would ever bring a third into the bedroom. When Cooper said that wasn't his style, it prompted Cohen to jump in and tease him that he could not stop himself from saying, oh, really? While things were heating up, King went on to ask her next question, why do you know that Anderson is open to a threesome in the bedroom? And funnily enough, Cooper, who was drinking from a glass of soda, immediately did a spit take, soaking himself and the studio carpet. Cohen himself seemed quite gagged by the question, freaking out just as much as Cooper was. While Watch What Happens Live is known for its viral moments, it's rare to see Cohen and his close friend Cooper get this flustered. Cohen and Cooper will be returning as co-hosts of CNN's annual New Year's Eve show from Times Square this year, and needless to say, people are eager to watch gay bro friends rock the event one more time.
Andy, could I ask why you know that Anderson is open to threesome in the bedroom? Are you okay?
Yeah.
You okay?
Sorry.
You okay, dear?
Sorry.
Clean up on aisle 3.
The control room is freaking out in my ear because they know I'm silently freaking out.
Okay.
Just because
Okay, no need.
something mother's intuition.
I love any story where I get to use the term spit take.
That's where you got it. Have you boys watched Anderson Cooper and what's his name? Anderson
Andy Cohen.
and
Andy
Andy
Cohen?
Cohen. Have
Yeah,
you
yeah.
watched them on CNN
No.
for New Year's Eve?
A little bit, yeah.
No, my favorite one was when they were both plastered out of their minds and they didn't know what the hell was going on or what year
I
it
think I
was
saw
or like
clips
what.
of that.
And then,
Yeah.
so then the following year they forced them no alcohol on set, and then that was like the most boring New Year's Eve show that they ever did
You
together.
can only have 2 drinks.
Right?
That's it.
So going back to the story, of course, leave it to Gayle King, right?
Right.
Oprah's boo.
Right?
To make the boys spit out their wine like that, right? I mean, again, at the end of the day, Anderson Cooper is not going to say anything vile or nasty if his mom, Gloria Vanderbilt, is still in his heart and is like not going to be able to, make her look bad at all. Do we miss Kathy Griffin on New Year's Eve?
Terribly.
I do, yeah.
Yeah?
I do.
Was
too.
one of, and she didn't drink. She doesn't drink.
No.
And she was hysterically funny. So, yeah, I love them. But this is what happens. This kind of is the kind of stuff that happens when you have 3 people who all have their own show,
Yeah.
each trying to,
Out-talk each
to do
other.
their thing.
Yeah.
Like, there have been times when you, me, and Al have been at Bona. We all leave the restaurant, have no idea what the other one said.
Nothing.
Like, we're all just sort of talking.
And whoever
each
went
other.
with us
Yeah.
was like, what the hell
Yeah.
were they talking about? They were having 3 separate conversations with us.
I love it. Like, it's I love making people uncomfortable.
Well, you do
when
it so
there's-
well.
Oh, thank you, Fay. Especially they're just 3 likable characters that are either gay or very gay positive, and that are sitting around, making light of something, which is a great way to see gay people as apart from all of the politics and dumpster fires that are going around. But it made me think of some other issues in that in today's society now, on television or being the head of your PTA or being in any other kind of job where maybe people give you a slight, like you have a responsibility to adhere to some kind of code of ethics. Would it be okay to say that you're in a throuple? Is that a bad thing?
It's not if you're one of the presidents of Mom for Liberty, right?
Right.
Right? I mean, no, but I mean, again, there are people who have throuples, and that is their relationship status, and that you didn't say anything sexual about that.
And they didn't even say like an actual throuple where it's a 3-person relationship. They just said about bringing somebody in. I don't know if I know a gay male couple
That hasn't brought in a
doesn't
third.
do that from time to time or isn't open to that. So with the prevalence of it, could you say that and be okay?
So were you part of the couple or were you the third?
I am an observer. I'm not in any relationship, so.
So you just watch?
That's it. That's
I also, I
wow.
also think that, they're trying to push the envelope. But if Anderson Cooper was honestly in a throuple, I doubt he would confirm it on TV.
On the show? Of
Yeah,
course
no,
not.
no.
No way.
No.
Should
and
we be
again-
more
and
open to
again,
this?
He's a Vanderbilt. He's not
yeah,
gonna
but
he's not
it's
going to tell anybody that.
That's not something I believe he would make public.
But I think
And I will say that, they have a baby now, right?
Uh-huh.
I bet the baby sleeps in the bed sometimes.
Okay, that's a
but that wasn't
throuple,
the
I guess.
Oh, that's a creepy back alley. I'm following you down, Cindy.
Yeah.
That is just in the bed. There was nothing about would you have someone else in your bed and have sex with
But do you
them.
think
They
you
just
could
said,
say
would you have
that?
But I mean, but just bringing, they said, would you bring somebody in? That's what that means.
Okay.
You know, basically. And could you do that? Is that an HR thing? Yeah, that's an HR thing, but they don't work with each other.
Right.
Like, do you think a teacher should be fired for something like that? If
I
they,
think
I
it's a
hope there was.
private life.
Hold on, but again, you know, they are getting in teachers' businesses way too much. If a teacher is
Yeah.
part of a throuple back at home, it's nobody's business but hers.
Exactly.
All right?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
just.
Is that okay with you?
No, it's fine with me. I'm just curious what you thought the public sphere now is, if that's something that's fireable, or like maybe Anderson wanted to be honest about it, but he felt like he couldn't because it was
Maybe.
just too much. And just seeing, you know, as the resident LGBT
They were
folks.
playing.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was
hold on.
just
How do I put
friends
this,
having fun. It was
Trini,
just
they were
friends
just
having
playing.
fun.
It's like me messing with you, saying, you like me, you want to sleep with me. I know you want to sleep with me. You're freaking gay and I know it. You know what I mean? It's just them messing with each other.
I don't know. I
Would
mean,
you
I
stop
think
hitting him that?
Cohen, no. Therapy.
I just started acting out for it. Let's move on.
Well,
Cindy, what you got for us?
Let's move on to education.
Hey.
We support Out Magazine after ban from Pennsylvania Library. War is declared on the queer community. In the quiet aisles of a northern Cambria public library in a small borough of Pennsylvania, library director Justin Brown would routinely update the magazine section, that including adding the latest issue of Out, a magazine that celebrates LGBTQ plus culture, art, entertainment, and fashion. But each time he went to place a new issue of the magazine, he found the previous issue mysteriously missing. This pattern of disappearance, initially a puzzling anomaly, has unraveled into a profound debate over representation and censorship, culminating in Brown's dramatic resignation at a recent library board meeting. In an interview with The Advocate, Brown detailed the events leading to his exit. Brown said after witnessing the pattern of disappearance that he inquired with the staff, who were also unaware of how or why the magazines went missing. This lack of clarity led Brown to confront the board president, Bill Lancey, who confirmed that Out was indeed being removed from the collection because it was deemed inappropriate and that it allegedly contained nudity. During a November 28th meeting, the Northern Cambria Library System board members expressed concerns about the magazine's content, particularly its suitability for a younger audience. Brown challenged these concerns by demonstrating the educational and cultural value of the magazine, but the board overlooked his perspective. Out magazine has a 31-year history of documenting our LGBTQ plus world and is a sibling publication of The Advocate. Queer News Tonight stands in its support for Out magazine, an institution of knowledge like Northern Cambria Public Library is declaring a culture war on us all. Well, here again is an effort to censor. Yeah. I mean, you know, there are some magazines that absolutely would not be appropriate in a public library, but Out magazine isn't one of them.
Yeah.
It's about...
I disagree. I don't think a public library should have any boundaries. It's a public library. I make the decision what I find
Well, I don't think a public library should have Playboy for people to go and browse.
Well, so I'm gonna be a counter to that is when I was doing my PhD research, I indeed had to go to Playboy for some articles that were written by Joyce Carol Oates, who I wrote about. So
Playboy is a good mag, but Hustler.
Yeah, I mean, I feel
freedom
that
of speech. You're saying that they should just be allowed to have anything in there.
The decision to censor is a self-decision. It's not for a public library to.
I disagree on that point.
And many people are on both sides of this argument.
I believe that Out magazine has a lot of information about our culture, about LGBTQ plus travel,
events,
art,
all kinds of stuff. Art, writers,
a lot of art, and important articles that are pertinent to our community.
Yeah, no, of course.
It's not a nudie magazine.
The Advocate has been around forever, right? And the Advocate was like some heavy reading for me, right? It was like, not so much, right? But I was in Out, okay? A couple of years back, and it's such a great publication, I just can't understand how. Ban National Geographic then also, because that's when I used to look at titties at when I was a kid.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
We always went to the public, and it was in school, in elementary school.
It was in school.
We always wanted that hall
library.
pass to go check out the National Geographic cities.
And the thing is, this is attacking the most vulnerable LGBTQ plus people, because who goes to the library, especially like when they're young, especially when you're young. Poorer communities, people who don't have access to information at home or feel scared to look it up,
or it's not safe at home.
Exactly, or it's not safe. God bless this librarian,
Brown.
Yeah.
God bless him, because he went in and he explained his perspective, knowing full well that Upper Cambria is. Those people were not going to listen. They don't want to hear. They don't want to acknowledge our position, because then you have to acknowledge us.
Yeah.
And he backed it up. He walked the walk, and then he walked away.
Exactly. He had too much integrity.
That was it right there, the integrity.
The integrity. He had too much integrity to be the director of a public library that was being censored.
Yeah.
And if he was in Florida, he probably his head would have already exploded.
Would have been chopped off, for sure. Trini?
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International service at 10:30 a.m.
Now let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Visit Lauderdale makes the holiday season even more memorable. The holidays are upon us, and Visit Lauderdale is here to help you make the most of it during your stay in Greater Fort Lauderdale. From a gleaming new ice skating rink near the beach to festive celebrations, brace yourself for a whirlwind of adventure. There are going to be multiple events in the gayest place on earth, like Victorian Christmas tours, Pentatonics, the most wonderful tour of the year, and be sure to catch one of the many tree lightings in Greater Fort Lauderdale by stopping by Gulfstream Park in Hollandale Beach for its Symphony of Lights. Visit Lauderdale, everyone under the sun.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your family and friends. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. This is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Fay What? And on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the incredible anchors of Queer News Tonight, including TriniDaddy, John Hayden, Dr. Tai Houser, and Cindy Brown. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you
Good night.